What do O.J. Simpson, MC Hammer, and Bill Clinton all have in common?
They were all things that helped make the 1990s captivating and the best decade out there.
Today, Allie, Vandy, Alondra, Wujay, Nishant, Noah, and Jordan will present to you the most significant events that helped shape the 1990s.
On August 2, 1990, President Saddam Hussein declared occupation and invasion on Kuwait. President Hussein did this to resolve border tensions, and he was in need of petroleum. Iraq was a communist supporter, and henceforth, United States supported Kuwait. President George W. Bush ordered the Operation Desert Shield to respond to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. To support the Desert Shield, President Bush ordered Operation Desert Storm in January 1991, which was to have a dramatic increase of American troops and resources. Iraq had 545,000 troops to make this invasion happen, while Kuwait outnumbered Iraq and had 680,000 troops to push back the Iraqis. Of the 680,000 troops, 415 U.S. troops enlisted in the military, with 27,000 American women fighting. Nations like Saudi Arabia, France, Great Britain also fought against Iraq. On January 16, the coalition launched cruise missiles on Iraq's target. Iraq responded by launching Scud missiles on Israel and Saudi Arabia. After a month of more fighting, the United States threatened Iraq to a ground war on February 23, 1991. United States Army General Norman Schwarzkopf planned an unexpected westward deployment. The coalition was so fierce that it only lasted 100 hours. In the end, only less than 300 coalition soldiers died and more than 10,000 Iraqi soldiers died. On February 28, 1991, a peace treaty was signed between Iraq and Kuwait, which ended this war.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign. More than 35 countries are giving crucial support, from the use of naval and air bases, to help with intelligence and logistics, to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you.
On April 20th, 1999, a mass shooting occurred at Columbine High School in Colorado. This event was known as the Columbine Massacre. Two teenage boys, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, showed up to the school on a Tuesday, heavily armed with roughly 100 explosives, 2 assault rifles, 2 shotguns, and 4 machine pistols. First, they started out by making car bombs, set to detonate shortly after they arrived at the school. They were about 3 miles away. In order to keep the emergency response services busy, this was necessary. The 2 boys in total killed 15 and injured 24 individuals. Klebold and Harris's motive was to rival the Oklahoma City bombing that took place 4 years prior to the massacre. This event first came into mind after Harris created his website, in which he had first started posting jokes on the site. Things began to snowball, and more concerning things were placed on Harris's site, such as how to make pipe bombs and smoke grenades. The site also contained a personal hit list that the boys created together. The 2 teens also had journals with plans to escape to Mexico and hijack planes. In order to perform this act of terrorism, the boys had to lie to their parents. They told them that they were just going to have a normal day at school. In a situation that the boys had to commit suicide, they made videos apologizing to their parents and thanking them for everything. Unfortunately, Klebold and Harris did commit suicide. Today, the students who were slain by these 2 public enemies were honored with a memorial and will always be remembered by the students who attended Columbine High School.
Ethnic genocides in Bosnia. The trouble started in Bosnia-Herzegovina in August 1992. First, Muslim-owned businesses were closed or attacked, then mosques were destroyed and houses firebombed. Local Serb officials offered the Muslims a chance to flee. By that time, most Muslims were terrified and ready to leave their entire life behind. This process was known to the Serbs as ethnic cleansing, as Muslims were being driven out of Serb-controlled areas of Bosnia. Others called it genocide, the systematic and planned extermination of an entire group of people. Areas that were not Serb-controlled were bombed in order to aim to convince the Muslims to leave. Serbs controlled 2/3 of the territory, which caused 3 million Muslims to become refugees. The ethnic cleansing went on for more than 3 years. More than half of Bosnia's citizens fled their homes and became refugees. In 1995, the warring groups agreed to a peace treaty. Soldiers from other countries, including the United States, went to Bosnia to keep the peace.
They called it the trial of the century. People across America were glued to their TV screens as they watched O.J. Simpson get accused for murdering his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. O.J. was a famous football player as well as an actor.
The murder happened right after midnight on June 13, 1994, in Nicole's house in Bundy, California. At the crime scene, there were no weapons or witnesses. The next day, O.J. was spotted in a white van.
After this, there was a low-key car chase where O.J. surrendered at his house. In order to win the case, O.J. had a dream team on his side. This consisted of F. Lee Bailey, Robert Shapiro, Alan Dershowitz, and Robert Kardashian.
On June 24, 1995, the trial started. Both sides had many witnesses like Kato Kalin. He was a house guest at O.J.'s house the night of the murder.
As days passed, the jury took a field trip to O.J.'s house. Here they found a black leather glove, similar to the one they found at Nicole's house in Bundy. O.J. tried it on, and it didn't fit.
In September 1995, the trial finally came to an end. O.J. Simpson won the case and was proven not guilty.
All right, Mr. Simpson, would you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, further find the special circumstance that the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, has in this case been convicted of at least one crime of murder of the first degree and one or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Signed this second day of October 1995, Juror 230. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict? So say you one, so say you all.
All right, counsel, Mr. Simpson, would you be seated, please? Let's have it quiet in the courtroom, please. All right, Mrs. Robertson, would you please poll the jurors?
Poll the jury. Juror number 1, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 2, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 3, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 4, as to count 1, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 5, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 6, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Yes. Juror number 7, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 8, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 9, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 10, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 11, as to count 1, is this your verdict? Juror number 12, as to count 1, is this your verdict?
In In 1995, a bomb exploded in Oklahoma City. It destroyed a government building and killed many people. Many people thought it was an act of terrorism, yet were shocked to discover that it was the work of a U.S. citizen who had set the bomb. Timothy McVeigh joined the Army and honorably served in the Gulf War of 1991. After leaving the military, he became restless and wandered around the country. He was not happy with the government. He believed that the government robbed people of their freedom. Quietly, he planned an attack on the government. He built a bomb and placed it inside a truck. On the morning of April 19, 1995, he parked the truck outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. He lit the bomb's fuse and quickly walked away. The blast killed 168 people, including 16 children under the age of 6, and wounded hundreds more. He was caught soon after the bombing and was convicted and executed for his crime in 2001. His associate, Terry Nichols, who helped him build the bomb, was also convicted and sent to prison for life.
Bill Clinton was elected president in 1992, promising the most ethical administration in history. Because of the favoritism that dominated Washington, D.C. while he served his 2 terms, and to his personal flaws, he became the most investigated president in history. President Bill Clinton's personal foolishness led to the second impeachment trial in our history. Independent counsel Kenneth Starr was investigating Clinton's pre-presidential financial dealings, but could prove no wrongdoing.
In a separate case, Clinton was being sued by Paula Jonas for sexual harassment. In her effort to demonstrate that Clinton was a harasser, Jonas called a young former White House intern named Monica Lewinsky to testify.
In the fall of 1997, Linda Tripp began secretly taping phone conversations with Monica Lewinsky that details Lewinsky's affair with the president. In the Jones case, Lewinsky at first denied a relationship with the president.
January 17, 1998, Clinton denied under oath any involvement with Lewinsky. This denial caused Starr to suspect the president in the Jonas trial. Starr assembled a grand jury offering Lewinsky immunity in return for her testimony. She admitted that she had lied. She and Clinton had had sexual encounters.
The same night, Clinton admitted the Lewinsky affair to the American people, apologizing to his family. September 10, 1998, Starr submitted his report to the House Judiciary Committee. On December 19, 1998, the House of Representatives approved the 2 articles of impeachment against President Bill Clinton's perjury.
The House of Representatives voted to impeach Clinton in 1998 on a strict party lines, but in the Senate trials, Republicans fell short of the 2/3 majority needed to convict. After the trial concluded, President Clinton said he was profoundly sorry for his behavior imposed on Congress and the American people.
The Soviet flag flew over the Kremlin in Moscow for the last time on Christmas Day 1991. A few days earlier, representatives from 11 Soviet republics that were Ukraine, the Russian Federation, Belarus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Moldova, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan met in the Kazakh city of Alma-Ata and announced they would no longer be part of the Soviet Union. But instead they declared they would establish a commonwealth of independent states because the 3 Baltic republics, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, had already declared their independence from the USSR. Only one of its 15 republics from Georgia remained. But the once mighty Soviet Union had fallen due to the great number of radical reforms and Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev had implemented during his 6 years as a leader of the USSR.
In the 1990s, music, fashion, sports, and entertainment were all very important aspects to people's everyday lives. Sports had many major events in the 90s. In baseball, the players went on strike in 1994 because they weren't being paid what they said they would earn. A year later, in 95, the fans were fed up with the players' greed. The attendance dropped 20%. In 1998, Mark McGwire broke the home run record with 70 home runs in one season. In basketball, Michael Jordan led the Chicago Bulls to win 6 titles in 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, and 98. The decade also saw the creation of the Dream Team, the 1992 Olympic men's basketball team, which many think is the greatest team of players ever to play on one team. This team also won the gold medal in Barcelona. The 1990s were an important decade in the history of television. Many programs that define the decade are still popular even years after the last episodes were aired. Some of the most well-known shows that aired during the 90s were Seinfeld, South Park, Survivor, Family Guy, and Friends. Many technological breakthroughs were made during the 90s. In 1991, the World Wide Web first became available for the public. Cloning was another major thing. This was the ability to clone one animal from the cell of another animal. Stem cell research, in 1998, helped us research many of the diseases and illnesses we suffer from. The biggest assistance for many of the technological advances in the 90s was the improvements in communication, including internet access. This allowed global sharing of information and mobile communications. This decade consisted of many fashion styles, such as a typical schoolgirl look, miniskirts, knee-high socks, and platform shoes. Many topped this off with some body glitter and their hair crimped or half up, half down. The music era of the 90s was filled with a variety of pop, rap, and alternative music artists, as well as many one-hit wonders. MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera all had many breakthroughs in the 90s. Many boy bands were popular throughout this decade as well. The subjects of these songs varied from sexual lyrics of techno and hip-hop to more of catchy songs, such as rock music. The 90s had many important advances in technology, very successful television series, major winnings in sports events, and many different styles of music.